Today, we are going to go over Magic players' favorite pet modern cards. Cards that, you know what, they're not that good, but people think, it's got value. It's going to get you in the right situation. And you know what? They jam them in their decks anyway. And I would love to start the conversation off with, I think, the single most quintessential, most popular pet card. We've got Bitterblossom here. Bitterblossom for the fairy players, also maybe for those control players that like to jam some fairies like Bitterblossom and Spellstutter Sprite. Bitterblossom, a black and 1 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying. I can't even count anymore to how many times this card showed up in like deck lists for deck list review. Especially for the first year, and I think after saying, no, take out the Bitterblossom, take out the Bitterblossom, take out the Bitterblossom, we don't see it nearly as much, but Bitterblossom, easily one of the most favorite pet cards, and you can even see it by its price. So if you see these prices, Bitterblossom, which by the way, sees no play in Modern, none, nothing. $51, $78, $42, $41, I mean, it's sitting at a solid $50 for a card that sees absolutely no play in Modern. You know how popular this card is as a pet card. People have to play this in their deck. It's a creature every turn. What's wrong with that? But you also like loot. First off, on turn 2, you do nothing. Absolutely nothing. You just put this naked enchantment out there, and then you lose life to get a 1/1 creature once a turn. I don't know how many times I've killed my opponent with their own Bitterblossom. I just have to get their life total down to 5, and then all of a sudden the Bitterblossom player is like, well, I'm dead in 5 turns. Can I turn the table in 5 turns? And the answer is no, and then, well, that's it. That's the end of them. I actually once had a funny game where the Bitterblossom player had a Liliana of the Veil, and it looked like... And I couldn't do anything about the Liliana of the Veil, and the Bitterblossom tokens kept blocking my creatures, and it was quite evident that Liliana was going to ultimate. So then Liliana's at 6. My opponent is at 1 life, and then they just resigned, not knowing that they could actually target themselves with the ultimate. Separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. That player sacrifices all permanents in the pile of their choice. So what they could have done is target themselves with Liliana, divide their permanents between Bitterblossom and everything else, and then sack the Bitterblossom and keep everything else. So anyway, that was an entertaining game. I don't know if I deserve to win it or not. I probably was gonna win it. They're at 1 life. They're gonna die anyway, more or less. But like, I wasn't in a really, really good spot. But the Bitterblossom, yeah, super popular card. Not playable anywhere. Jermaine! Alright, so we got Lightning Skelemental. Dies to everything, but I still love it. That is a great pet card. Truth be told, one day this might actually be good. I mean, if you hit your opponent with this, it is good value. Red, black, 6/1 creature, trample haste. Whenever Lightning Skelemental deals combat damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards. That's a beating! At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Lightning Skelemental. Lightning Skelemental does have 2 problems, though. First problem is, what if your opponent has no cards in hand? Then it's literally Ball Lightning. And Ball Lightning does not see play in Modern. Or anywhere, for that matter. When was the last time Ball Lightning saw play? I don't know, some Sly deck from the year, like, 1999? I don't think Ball Lightning has seen play in an insanely long time. So Trample and Haste is not worth it if you've got to sacrifice at end of turn. And it's really expensive. So Lightning Skelemental has no like long-term benefits. And that's basically it. Yeah, if you can get him early with this, it's not bad. 3 mana, 6 damage, make you discard 2 cards. Pretty good. But later in the game, if it's like 1 or less cards you make him discard, and you always sacrifice this card, it's over. You take that. Lumberjack says, my favorite pet card is Elvish Champion. Is it really so bad now? I mean, maybe from your perspective. Reason I started playing Elves back when Invasion came out. Because the Elvish Champion actually got upgraded. Other elves get +1/+1 and have Forest Walk. And, you know, elves, I mean, generally speaking, elves tried to combo off, right? Elves didn't actually try to beat, but they do beat down with creatures. But now we've got Yavimaya. Which Yavimaya? I don't know. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. So each land is a forest in addition to its other land types, which means now you activate your Forest Walk. You just put the land on the battlefield. I got forests, you got forests, but I got Forest Walk. So but of course, this card sees no play in any traditional elf deck. Only in the elf decks that I make. Blood Artist. Okay, this definitely is a pet card now. People love Blood Art. They love building around this card. It is so hard to play. I mean, it has legitimate play in maybe one deck, just Yawgmoth. I think Yawgmoth plays this card, you know, to some good effect because they need the ETB triggers to not die to their own Yawgmoth. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Every single time I post a video with a deck tech to vampires, those vampire players are in the comments section. Where's Blood Artist? It's so good, they say. But at the same time, it's so easy to... It doesn't do anything by itself, and it can just die by itself. I mean, if it's so backbreaking, they'll just kill it. But if it's not a big deal, people will just leave it on the battlefield. It's not that dangerous. Only in the Yawgmoth deck where you demonstrate, like, loops with the persist triggers, sorry, the undying triggers, that it's actually deadly. Charlie Peterson, Satyr, Fire Dancer. But, like, don't they have an upgraded... Oh, yeah, Satyr Fire... They have an upgraded card to this, don't they? Like, there's a real... Chandra... Okay, so, like, let's go with Satyr Fire Dancer for a second. Red and 1 generic for a 1/1 creature. But whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent, Satyr Fire Dancer deals that much damage to target creature or player target creature that player controls. So essentially, everything in your deck turns into a Searing Blaze. So I'm sure you love Chandra's Inferno, I think it's called. That's not it. Chandra something. Where is it? Chandra's Incinerator. The Incinerator. Same thing. This spell costs X lot. And this also is a pet card amongst a lot of burn players. Saw a lot of play immediately. Probably Magic Aids had something to do with that. It doesn't see any play anymore. So this is just a janky card you can put in burn. I mean, it will kill you. It's not that... Maybe it could come back. Like, you can't Prismatic Ending this thing. You can't Fury the thing. Oh, but you can Unholy Heat. Wow. 6 toughness. Unbelievable. 6 toughness. But anyway, yeah, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or player instead. I would recommend this card over the Satyr Fire Dancer, though. I think this is not too hard to pull off. And it's a big, chunky creature. Big chunker. Mausoleum Secrets. Lazy loves Mausoleum Secrets. What is this? Instant. Search your library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal and put into your hand, then shuffle your library. You like tutors. This is a strong card. If you got, you know, enough stuff in your graveyard. You got enough stuff in your graveyard. I guess this, I didn't know this card existed, to be honest. Didn't know it existed. Keith Stoll says, I play Gruul aggro. My 2-drops are Zerta Goblin and Strangleroot Geist. Hey, Strangleroot Geist sees a lot of play. Is it worth it to drop the Geist for Brushfire Elemental to play Gigantha? No, definitely not. I play Wooded Foothills and Prismatic Vista. Here, let's look at... This is probably your pet card, though. Zerta Goblin. This is like a more of a historic card than a modern card. Yeah, red-green 2/2 creature with Riot. Get in your aggro. John says Grand Architect. Is this more like a pet deck than a pet card? The Vidalkin. Blue, blue, 1 generic, 1/3 creature. Other blue creatures you control. Get +1/+1. And a blue, target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. But you can tap an untapped blue creature you control to add 2 generic mana. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. So ramp out your, I don't know, your Karn or something. A big walking ballista. Make a big walking ballista. Oh, this is a great pet card by Joseph. Phyrexian Obliterator. I love that this card actually saw modern play. Phyrexian Obliterator. I love that this card actually saw modern play temporarily. Before the dark times. Before Fatal Push. Fatal Push actually just killed this card on the spot. At the time, like, the only thing that could beat this was a Path to Exile. And if you wanted to Lightning Helix it or Lightning Bolt it, good luck. And it was pretty evil. It was like a... But anyway, now it's just, it's gone from like a pet card that was moderately competitive to completely pet card. My beautiful Wasteland Strangler. This is a really good card, though. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's getting weaker. No, it's still good. It's still good. Whenever Wasteland Strangler enters the battlefield, you may put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's graveyard. If you do, target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. What can it hit? It can hit Ragavan. It can hit the Dragon Rage Chandler. It can hit a fresh Shredder. Guess that's about it. Not going to do Dink versus Murktide, that's for sure. Oh, we've got the super chat. Thanks so much, Chris Ross. I appreciate you, Chris. Edgar used that crew chat. This is the first time this week I'm able to make it on time. Let's not forget about my boy Signal Pest. Crews no work. Guess Signal Pest has been delegated to, what's it called? Pet card status. No, there's no affinity deck for this card. I will say, like, this card was played in Affinity, but it was also played in other archetypes like Goblin's Affinity. So there were like these Goblin token decks. Some token decks like to play Signal Pest. Fools. Stone Rain? That's your pet card? Stone Rain. So you want to play this over Pillage. We do have Pillage in this format, right? Or maybe you already play Pillage. But in addition to play Pillage, you play Stone Rain. That's crazy. Trunic loves the card of Kieran. You know what? I'm a little surprised Heart of Kieran saw no play in Modern. Nothing. No one even wanted to try. Nothing at all. You may remove a loyalty counter from a Planeswalker you control rather than pay Heart of Kieran's crew cost. And I'm not saying Heart of Kieran belongs in Modern, but this card saw no play. Nothing whatsoever. For a card that was like dominating Standard, and it's like accurately costed at 2 mana. Crew 3 is a little bit difficult, but like, I mean, we got a lot of big creatures in Modern. We have a lot of big creatures, and if nothing, we have Planeswalkers that will activate this thing, so. I thought it was I thought it was a bit weird that this card saw no play. Glorybringer? When is that a pet card? In what deck are you playing this thing in? Are you playing Burn? It is a Modern card. All exclusively in the red-green aggro/Ponza deck, but I mean it is a card. It's a legit card. Hey, 5 mana for a 4/4 evasive haste creature that kills other creatures. It's pretty good. Especially when it kills Dragon Rage Chandler. Everyone's happy. Astral Slide by Gustavo. What does this do? Enchantment. Whenever a player cycles a card, you may exile target creature. Whenever a player, anybody cycles a card. Interesting. If you do, return the exile card to the battlefield under its own control at the beginning of the next end step. Oh, it's a Blinky card. This card sees so little play I didn't even know it existed. But I can tell... Where's it came? It came from Onslaught? Is this even a modern? It's not even legal in modern. Whatever. Give me your pet cards anyway. I don't care. Give me your favorite, what's it called? Pet cards in Legacy. Hazoret the Fervent. That's a fantastic pet card. So that one is so good. We made a burn deck out of this guy. I could probably put him in the Stompy deck, actually. I could put, if we say screw it to a Bosch, I gotta put a note down. You know what? We gotta put Hazoret in the Stompy deck. Hazoret's going in the Stompy deck. Oh, the Stompy deck is gonna get so good. Screw a Bosch. We're gonna play with Hazoret. This thing's insane. It's so easy to empty your hand in Modern. I mean, it can be the last thing you play anyway. Oh, Waste Not! Waste Not is one of the ultimate pent cards. It's also one of the most popular build-around cards. This is a card made by the community. For the community. So basically, the community got what they wanted. No, they love this card. I also on Decklist Review, we see so many of this card. And I don't even think it's that bad. I think it probably should deserve more play than it does. I mean, you never want them in I don't think you want them in multiples. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. I guess that ability stacks. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add black mana. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Could this card see play in 8-rack? Or is that just overkill? Like, you don't really need more enchantments enabling your discard stuff. Matt Wazik saying Delver. How many Delvers are there? There's a lot of Delvers. Yeah, Delver of Secrets might as well be a pet card at this point. This is unplayable 1-drop. Really hard to turn on. So if you're jamming this in your deck, it's because you love it more than anything else. I mean, in Modern, it's very hard to flip this card. We just don't have the resources. I mean, like, you can do it, but it's not as good as other 1-drops that we play. Vexing Devil. That is definitely a card in the same league as Bitterblossom. Let's go check out like, this is, I don't know, like, if you just get into Magic and you see Vexing Devil, you just think, wow, this is way better than Goblin Guide. One red for a 4/3 creature? That's unbeatable. And they don't want it on the battlefield. That's 1 mana for 4 damage. That's better than Boros Charm. So the logic says. So what is the price of this card? I know this card. Oh wow! Did it just get a reprint? Did it just get a reprint? Not really. Look at the Look at the hype for this card. Super hyped at $15 for no reason at all. Nothing. What? Oh! I don't know why it got hyped, but it did get reprinted. Right, yeah, it did get a reprint. It got reprinted just as Ultimate Masters came out. It just got a reprint. Hilarious. Oh, it went to 0! Insert that crypto meme. MTG Ectoplasm. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. My pet card since its creation has been Stuffy Doll. Why shouldn't my masochistic tendencies work for me? Alright, Stuffy Doll. But, like, how do you make this work? So you just play a 5-mana indestructible creature in Modern, or are you staying outside of Modern? Stuffy Doll enters the battlefield, choose a player. Whenever Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. Stuffy Doll deals 1 damage to itself. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Wesley says the devil spiked because of Pelt Collector. Who cares? Wow, Pelt Collector is revealed. Vexing Devil is going to be really good. Oh, wow. Blasphemous Act is insane with Stuffy Doll. Thanks for letting me know that. I'm going to keep that in mind. That's a nice combo. That's going to go in a combo video one day, Richard. That's going to go in a combo video one day. Yeah, 13 damage to your Stuffy Doll and then hit somebody for 13 damage. Love it. Guilty Conscience. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, Guilty Conscience deals that much damage to enchanted creature. Not modern legal, but you love the card. So is it like pseudo removal? So you put this thing on the creature that is that you basically want to get off the board, and then it'll deal that much damage to itself. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, Guilty Conscience deals that much damage to enchanted creature. So don't attack with that thing. Okay, we got Mystic Forge. Oh, that's a pretty good card, though. This card sees literal play. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. Pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. It's a good card. Torbran, Thane of Red Fell. Torbran is so... I hated this card in Pioneer. The moment Torbran hits the battlefield undead, if a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. So it's like lightning bolts are now dealing 5 damage. All of a sudden, everything is a Vexing Devil. Your shocks turning to Vexing Devil damage. Thomas with Dreadhorde Arcanist. A card that actually got banned in Legacy. Not so much traction in Modern, though. Whenever Dreadhorde Arcanist attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Dreadhorde Arcanist power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. And probably it's because it's just a lot of removal in Modern. And it's really hard to defend this thing, like at least in Legacy. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Alright, well, I'll try to kill it on your turn. Force a will. Okay, do something else. Daze. Alright, well, that's it. I tried. And Dreadhorde Arcanist will just ponder. Ponder again. Draw 2 cards a turn. You know it's over. It's basically over. Witherfang says, Vexing Devil. It's like there's a history to Vexing Devil. Was hyped when Claim/Fame was printed. If I recall, it did spike during the Amonkhet block on which Claim/Fame was printed in Hour of Devastation. Don't know why it would matter that much, though. Yanling, Sky Dancer. Okay, we're going to only choose one. We'll go Yanling. The Penguin Generator. Oh, you want this? Yeah, the Sky Dancer. I'll tell you why it's a Penguin Generator. Because I actually intend on making a video out of this. Create a... Okay, so the abilities are +2 until your next turn. Up to 1 target creature gets -2, -0, and loses flying. Which is pretty good, actually, against these Murktide decks. So you can basically neuter Ragavan, Dragon Rage Chandler, and you can even make Murktide lose flying so you can chump block it. But the -3 is create a 4/4 blue elemental bird creature token with flying. Birds are 1/1 creatures. This 4/4, a 4/4 bird, what the hell is that? It's got to be a penguin. It's got to be an emperor penguin to be so chonky. There's no... What other chonky birds are there on this earth that is worthy of being a 4/4 creature? And I understand, and how do penguins fly? Well, it's all because of magic and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's an air elemental in a bird. Is an albatross? Could that be a 4/4 bird? I don't know. 4 toughness? That's a lot of toughness on that bird. That bird has a big butt. You know, I look at turkeys as like 1/3 creatures. I don't really see the turkey attacking for a whole lot. An ostrich? That's possible. That's a big bird. People are coming out with your birds. The ostrich, the emu. What's a rhea? I've never heard of a rhea bird. Never heard of it. Oh, it's like an emu. Or an ostrich. It's both. Are they all from the same family? The emus. Hey, does anyone remember the moment they learned what an emu was? I remember my moment. It was when I was watching King of the Hill. There was some skit about emus. I can't remember. Dale had a bunch of emus or something like that. There's only one thing left to do. We have to murder the emus. I just remember that line. If anyone knows. Nikachu has never been assaulted by a turkey. Not yet. Maybe it looks like a 1-3, but it's a 4-3. Anyway, okay, Mu Yanling, the penguin generator, or the emu generator. Hard to bolt that bird. It's 4 toughness. Emu should not be a 4-4. Never forget that Australian lost an actual war against emus. Emus are fearsome. I'm gonna get you. All right, let's back to some pet cards. Rattleclaw Mystic. By the way, if you mention a card that actually sees play, that's not a pet. I'm not considering that a pet card, unless you can give me an explanation where you play it. Rattleclaw Mystic, a green and 1 generic for a 2/1 creature. So we got this. This is a really crappy mana ramp card. When it's turned face up, add 3 mana to your mana pool. Is it worth it? So you have to pay 2 mana to net that 1 extra mana. Figure of Destiny. Where do you play this? So for 1 mana, you can upgrade your 1/1 creature into a 2/2. For 3 mana, you can upgrade your 2/2 into a 4/4. And for 6 mana, it becomes basically a big flying dragon. So what is it, like an 8/8 Kithkin Spirit Warrior Avatar flying and first strike? You know, once you get to that level, you don't even want first strike anymore. You'd rather have trample, I think, by that point. You want trample. Shared Fate. What is this card? 5 mana. If a player would draw a card, that player removes the top card of an opponent's library from the game face down instead. Each player may look at and play cards he or she removed from the game with Shared Fate as though they were in his or her hand. So basically, you get their library. You can find all of a sudden and they say this thing like you exile the card face down, or is it, yeah, from the game face down, so that you aren't literally putting it into your hand. It's like, how can we play with our opponent's library? How can we get someone to play with their opponent's library without putting the cards in their hand and accidentally putting them into their deck? We don't want people stealing cards. Spencer Ward says Grave Pact. White/red doesn't trample? Oh, is that right? I've never paid attention to that. So is the only trampling color green or also black? I never thought about that, but I believe it. Grave Pact, 4 mana, enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. You know what? If you're going to have a pet card, at least have it be a very powerful ability. This is a pretty powerful ability. So whenever something of yours dies, each other player sacks something. You have nothing on the battlefield. You will have nothing. Nothing at all. Geist of St. Traft has not been mentioned yet. It deserves a spot, too. The Geist. Hexproof 2/2 creature. I mean, this used to be a modern staple. Now this is just a pet card, if anyone wants to play with it at all. Whenever Geist of St. Traft attacks, create a 2/2 white angel creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. Exile that token at end of combat. Actually, hold on. Back at that conversation, Tree Tracer says red tramples. That's true, because ball lightning tramples. We were just talking about ball lightning. So red and black tramples. Yeah, there we go. Ethan says ball lightning. How quickly we forget. How quickly I forget, for that matter. Anyway, I think this is actually one of the most competitive cards that we've mentioned here. Geist of St. Traft will completely ruin somebody. Like, it is actually pretty well positioned right now. Like, we have so much removal. This thing is indestructible. Just play this in some sort. Play it in a Stoneblade deck. It will take over the game. Screw your Solitudes, your Furies, the Unholy Heats. We have more removal than ever before, and at instant and for free. And Geist says it's all useless. It's all useless. I'm a simple man. I enjoy my Shark Typhoon. And why not? Easy cantrip. Make a token while you're at it. This is a very underrated card. This probably should be in the underrated card section. More blue decks should play this. And I love the janky combos sometimes where they play Shark Typhoon, they get the token, then they polymorph it, or the what's it called, the creativity card. Yeah, just blow up your tokens. Blistering Firecat. What the hell is this? 4 mana for a 7/1 trample haste, end of turn sacrifice Blistering Firecat. Oh yeah, this is the crappier Ball Lightning. I remember when this thing came out. Sharknado is that a card? Oh, you're talking about Shark Typhoon. Yes. Shark Typhoon. Sharknado is a card. What is Sharknado? Like, everyone talks about Sharknado this, Sharknado that. Sharknado. Am I missing something? Is this a movie? And they made a sequel. They made Sharknado 2. Yeah, they did. That's gotta be a movie. That's gotta be like a video I gotta make. Magic cards based off of movies. Does this actually happen in the movie? Sharknado films the worst ever? Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. Just a bunch of sharks everywhere. They made 6 of them. It's a franchise. Made a ton of sequels. People keep watching. People keep watching our troll meme movies. So we're incentivized to spend more money to make more troll name movies. I have no idea what this is. I have never seen this before. I heard the term Sharknado here and there, but I had no idea what they were referencing. What is this movie like? It's an action movie? There's a big helicopter. How do they deal with the tornado full of sharks? And what, they're in space? This is ridiculous. Nikachu, put it on your list to watch, for the love of God. It's amazing. It's literally a tornado. I'm sure the movie delivers on the title. I have no doubt about that. It's bad. So, okay, so here's a question. How many Sharknado movies has everyone watched? Just to get a poll of how good this franchise is. Because I'm certain it's either going to be like 1, 2... It's either people are going to say 1 or they're going to say 5 or 6. But I'm very curious. How many Sharknado movies have people seen in this franchise? We got A-Dog's a 0. Some people just didn't believe. Sophia's gone a little deep at 2. Jack's at 3. Darth's at 3. So what, like, Beanpot says, yeah, we're watching all of them. I don't care if it's going to be repetitive. A lot of 0s out there. Some 1s. I watched all 6. Epic's seen 2. It seems like after 2, you've either seen them or... Chris couldn't even watch the whole first movie. I stopped with Snakes on a Plane. Is it like the same director? Sharknado is one of the worst pieces of film humanity has ever created. You will lose IQ from watching it. I weep for our race at the thought of it. Does it have like a Machete sort of feel to it? I've seen Machete. Is it like Machete? They're like the Tremor movies. How the F do those Sharknadoes keep spawning? Well, I mean, if there's gonna keep, if tornadoes are gonna still be made, then there's gonna be tornadoes with sharks still gonna be made. I saw the first, it sucked, but I felt I needed to give it a chance and watch the second. Maybe I should. They made 6 of them after all. They made 6 of them. Okay, Machete is good. Machete is good. Sharknado is bad. I thought Machete was bad. I thought they're all terrible. Alright, well, okay. Let's get back. Let's get back to pet cards in Modern. Or in Magic in general. Alright, we've got, what is it? Corpsejack Menace. Corpsejack. What do we got here? 4 mana for a 4/4 creature. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on instead. This is terrible. This is like a really bad, what's it called? I can understand why it's your pet card. This is a very poor hardened scales. But, like, it's hardened scales on a creature. I get it. Well, it's actually different. It's twice the counters. It's not the counters +1, but usually you're only putting 1 counter on a card anyway. You're only putting 1 counter on a card. The Meathook Massacre. This probably deserves a little bit more play, because you can just play it for a double black, right? Meathook Massacre enters the battlefield. Each creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses life. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain a life. Nice. Nice. Like, this is basically the modern day Blood Artist, right? This is modern. I think this is the modern day Blood Artist, but it also can wipe the board. And it's also not affected by removal. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay, so it's not the same exactly. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain a life. But whenever a creature yours dies, they lose a life, which is important, because that's how you want to drain them. That's how you drain them. Drain is better than gain. Oh, this is a great one. Pack Rat. Huge standard play. Deserve more play in Modern. Some people try to break this in Modern. Like, I saw quite a few people try to make a Pack Rat deck. I know, in theory, it would get out of control. In theory, this card could get out of control. 3 mana, discard a card, put a token onto the battlefield. That's a copy of Pack Rat. Yeah, this is a pretty neat pet card. Goldspan Dragon. Ornithopter is not a pet card. I mean, it depends on the deck you put it. It sees play in Hammer Time. Goldspan Dragon. I guess in Modern it's a pet card. Do you know what was weird to me? That this card was seeing play in control decks. Like, it seemed completely unnecessary that this would be playable in Jeskai Control or Blue Moon or anything like that. It's just a big it's literally a 5 mana 4/4 creature. And then as a control deck, okay, I mean, I guess the upside is that if your opponent taps out, you have the right to tap out, hit your opponent, get treasure tokens. So whenever Goldspan Dragon attacks or becomes the target of spell or ability, create a treasure token. So I guess you get the token and then you can interact with your opponent with, like, Bolt or something. Bolt, Path to Exile, Unholy Heat or something like that. Oh, that's a good one, Patrick. Heartless Summoning. That's a good card to build a whole deck around. Black and 1 generic creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Creatures you control get -1/-1. Get that ramp. It's a weird ramp card, right? Sanity Grinding? I don't know if I know this card. Sanity Grinding. This is triple blue for sorcery, Chroma. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each blue mana symbol in the mana cost of revealed cards, target opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Then put the cards you revealed this way on the bottom of your library in any order. So that's interesting. That is very interesting. So this is a mill card. But so you look at the top 10 cards, and then the more sanity grinding that you have, the more cards you'll mill. It's interesting. That's a very neat card. That could see play one day if mill gets more like, I don't know, double blue mill spells. Well, they're not really there. They have fractured sanity, but I don't know how the math would work out. Very interesting card. Uri, Chrome Courier. What the hell is this? Modern Horizons card, though. It's funny, there's so many cards from Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2 that I, like, don't even know about until they, like, someone mentions them. Because they just didn't see, no one gave it the time of day and didn't see any play. This thing's like 2 cents. Alright, we got a 3-mana 1/1 flyer. When Chrome Courier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. If you put an artifact card in your hand this way, you gain 3 life. Oh yeah, you have to reveal both cards. Okay, it's not terrible. It replaces itself. It's like a Silver Gill Adept. You dig a little deep, fill your graveyard, get some life. Not bad. Sadistic Sage. Vendilion Clique is your pet card, even though this is like, well, it hasn't seen play in an insanely long time. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Vendilion Clique, the flying fairy that steals cards from your hand. Time Sieve, still run it as a 2 of Inwerza. This card is seeing now some real play. Didn't Aspiring Spike, like, bring this card to life? Aspiring Spike has now a cookbook deck that is playing this card. I wonder if it's spiked recently because of that. Aspiring Spike, the market mover. Spike one day should just, like, he should make some really crappy card look good, and then spike, like, buy a card heavily in advance, make a crappy card look good, and then spike the card. They don't call him Aspiring Spike for nothing. He can spike the market. So anyway, this card actually sees play now. Funny enough. So I guess the value of your Time Sieves have gone up. Sell, sell, sell! Aspiring Spike can basically make anything playable. Yeah, but can he make it competitive? And he makes a lot of, I know he makes a lot of brews playable, but he also makes a lot of playable decks competitive. So he makes real decks out there. You guys know that comedy is supposed to be dumb, right? They are mock movies that have celebrities that come in them. I guess Jazzy's still on the Sharknado topic. Darwolf says, Great Bow Dovin. Great Bow Dovin? I didn't know. The Great Bow? Great Bow Oven? I have no idea what you're talking about. You know, look up Dovin. Oh, there is no I thought there was a Dovin. I thought we had a Dovin out there. Okay. I'm mistaken. When you guys give me cards, you gotta give me the right name. I don't know every single name. Tree of Perdition. I don't know what format you're playing this in, but I guess I know what you're up to. Tree of Perdition. Defender. Exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. Your life total is now 13. Helps bring people down in Commander, that's for sure. So hold on, so if someone's life total is 40, then Tree of Perdition's new toughness becomes 40. Nice. Modern Art Fair. Progenitus. Why doesn't Progenitus get more love? Does this card see play anywhere? Anywhere at all? Nothing? Do people even play? Do people play this in Commander? Is this a Commander like card? Do people play this as a Commander? And then I can play anything. Progenitus was my my commander. Oh yeah, it plays. It's. Does it see play in Legacy Elves? I can't remember now. I don't think so. Maybe sometimes. Okay, you heard the music, people. So let's wrap this up with a few more. Lotus Cobra. That's a nice one. That's a nice pet card. If you can untap with this thing, you have a fetch land, you're getting the 5 mana that turn, which is nice. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. Faith's Reward. That card is coming back. You should look up, I can't remember who it was that I saw on Twitter. It was one of the Titan specialists. They made a Faith's Reward deck, and they did very well with it. Faith's Reward could come back. Oh, that's my pet card. Pongify. I was thinking, like, what's my pet card? This is my pet card. Pongify. You can destroy any creature. Can't be regenerated. They get a 3/3 green ape creature token. And the thing is, you can also, if they try to attack your creature in response, you can Pongify. And you at least have a 3/3 creature. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so, well, I think you guys have so many pet cards. You want to, like, do this again tomorrow? We have another pet card. I think this is worth doing again. Eldrazi Temple is kind of pets. I think you guys have so many suggestions that we'll go over this list. We'll go over more cards like this tomorrow. Because I think you guys have so many great suggestions that it's impossible to get them all through today. So we're going to now move on to deck list review. So if you've got a deck list you want reviewed on the channel, or just show it off on the channel, go into the description. There's a link. There's a Discord link. Join the Discord. Find the channel deck list review. Enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random for deck list review. So who's our lucky person today? Randomly chosen. Super Saiyan. Teamer Shred Tide. Oh god, we didn't even thank the sponsors today. FusionGamingOnline.com, your one-stop shop for all your fusion gaming needs. Well, I mean, if you deck boxes, singles, playmats, more. Deal of the week this week, however, is save 15% off all Secret Lair singles and sealed product. So all that specialty art, Wider Grave, Consecrated Sphinx, Ponder. There's beautiful Ponders out there. Get all that Secret Lair stuff. Beautiful. Get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank, Mana Traders, your premier place to rent Magic cards online. Play any deck, any of your pet cards. You want to try a pet card in Modern to see if it's playable, or even just to have fun for yourself. You don't have to buy the card, just rent it. Rent an unlimited number of pet cards, play them in your decks with Mana Traders. You can support the channel renting with my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_K3W. Alright, let's get back to deck list review now. Now it's 15% per sale, Nikachu. This is unforgivable. What can we do to make things right? It's 15%. Huh? Okay, let's. We have a Teamer Shred Tide deck. Oh, so it's Dragon Rage Channeler, Ledger Shredder, Tarmogoyf, and Murktide Regent. Okay, so you got Consider, Lightning Bolt, Traverse. Love Traverse. Unholy Heat, Counterspell, Expressive Iteration, Mishra's Bauble. Okay, this is weird suggestion, but I think you should dump the Murktide for, like, Ragavan. I think Tarmogoyf and Murktide don't... Okay, one of two things are going to be true with this deck. The deck will be fine because your Ledger Shredder and your Dragon Rage Channeler will refill the graveyard for Tarmogoyf very easily, or your graveyard's going to be relatively empty because of Murktide Regent. I think only one of those two things are going to be true, though. So, my suggestion... Like, the deck looks clean. The deck looks really clean. I like how it's been built. Very, very clean list. Good numbers. But only one thing is going to be true here. Either your Tarmogoyf's not going to work because of Murktide, or there's going to be some sort of conflict, or it's going to be fine. So if the numbers work out, and I think the numbers do, this list is great. Oh, you have Ragavan in the sideboard. That's so weird. Veil of Summer. I think Veil of Summer works really well in this deck. Endurance. Although Veil of Summer is not so well positioned, because the main removal spells aren't black. They're red and white. Things like just like what you have: Unholy Heat, Lightning Bolt, Solitude, Fury. Those are the main thing. That's the main reason anything's dying. Mystical Dispute, Endurance. I think this is okay. Probably the side. Like if Murktide Regent just doesn't work out, put Ragavan in the main. I like this Traverse though. I like the Traverse to help find like your Murktide Regent, or reduce the number of Murktides in the deck so they're not conflicting with the Tarmogoyf too much. You're missing 5 lands, my friend. Oh! That's a really... That's easy to miss. Yeah, we're missing lands. You're not missing 5 lands. Like, the deck plays a lot of cantrips, but still, we should be closer to 19 lands, I think. Probably... Okay, so you have to cut some Murktides. Cut, like, 2 Murktides and maybe a Bauble. Or maybe 1 Traverse. Or cut 3 Murktides and add 3 lands. 16 lands is too few. You'll definitely get screwed on this. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream. The stream is great. Archmage's Charm is usually pretty clunky in these decks, because they're usually low on lands. I think 19 lands is a good number. What are they doing these days? What does a regular Murktide deck do? 18, 19? 18. Okay, so you know what? I'll just say remove, because they have a lot of cantrips, and the Ledger Shredder helps a lot. So my suggestion is remove, and it would be a clean suggestion. Remove 2 Murktide, add 2 lands. Should be good. I hope Ragavan makes sense in the sideboard. Here's the weird thing about Ragavan in the sideboard for you. You're not going to surprise anyone, because if anyone sees Murktide and Dragon Rage Channeler or Ledger Shredder in your deck, they will assume your deck has Ragavan, and they will appropriately sideboard for it. So I have no idea what you're bringing this in against, that it shouldn't be in the main deck already. Like over, say, Murktide or Tarmogoyf. I have no idea. But anyway. Because it will be not a surprise to anyone. They'll just assume it was in the main deck. And they just didn't see it game 1. Thanks for submitting the deck list. We got Dana Hayes with a Bosch Prowess. Where's M. Hayashi when I need him? Where's M. Hayashi? Or put 1 in main deck and 1 sideboard it out when it would be better. Yeah, but I think the idea is they want to play with Tarmogoyf instead. They should just not play with Ragavan, period. Okay, a Bosch Prowess. We got a Bosch. Dragon Rage Channeler, Monastery Swiftspear, Ragavan, Soulscar Mage, Fury, Chandra Dress to Kill, huge favorite of M. Hayashi. Card sees no play outside of this deck, but hey, dressed for the occasion, why not? Okay, Lava Dart, Lightning Bolt, Prismatic Ending. What? Well, it does say Abosh Prowess, not Mono Red Abosh Prowess. Light Up the Stage, Seal Fire. This has gotta be terrible to put this Prismatic Ending in here. Oh, you have a lot of white sideboard cards, though. Oh, so the white is mostly for the sideboard. Okay. Okay. I mean, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but, like, I get it. So you have many white sources. You have Arid Mesa. There's no reason to have a Fiery Islet in this deck. What is the... what is the red-white? What's the... Where's the land down here? No. What's the horizon land that's red-white? Something Canyon, I think. Yeah, Sunbay Canyon. There's no reason to not have this card. I mean, this, and it's white. Oh, you want the blue? You might want the blue, I guess, to hit 3 drops. But still, I don't know if it's worth it. Okay, let's see how many white sources do you have on turn 1? 4. Basic land card. Do you have a basic plains? You do. Okay, so 5, 6. But this should just be a random fetch land anyway. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, you don't have enough white sources. So you should. So Sunbaked Canyon was already here. You should just play another Sunbaked Canyon and screw like this. Like you can't determine that you're gonna have this here. I'm assuming that the mana base might be a bit on a budget, but yeah, you should be all in. But to be more technical, you should be all in on Sunbaked Canyon. You probably should have more white sources. You don't have a lot of whites. You have only 12 white sources, so really you're gonna play most of your white cards by turn 3. By turn 3, you'll have the mana for it, which might not be bad for your deck anyway, because you might be wanting to get out in front early on in the game and then start interacting with your opponent later in the game with things like Path Exile, more prismatic endings, and Wear and Tear if people play Chalice of the Void, so it's not terrible. Play Chandra with Bone Crusher? I think Chandra is fine. M. Hayashi's played this card a lot to success. Fiery Islet gives another color for ending. Yeah, but you have no control over this. It's a 1-of that you can't fetch. If it was like Steam Vents, I can understand that. If it was but anyway, this is just a random 1-of. It's so unreliable. It's more important that you get you just have white mana for turn 1. Very, very important. Some matchups you're gonna want that white mana on turn 1. Cut ending for Bone Crusher. I don't know what this is for. I'm just assuming it has a plan. To be honest, I would prefer this was more on the burn side. Because I think a lot of stuff you want to destroy with Wear and Tear, M. Hayashi does with Blast Zone. He never leaves home without Blast Zone. He loves his Blast Zone. I think Blast Zone is a great card, especially for this deck. So you can tick this thing. You can... Oh, sorry, this doesn't hit Chalice, but this hits a lot of other cards that might be a nuisance for the mono red deck. So you can blow up a lot of stuff. What can you blow up? How do you blow up Chalice? Oh, no, you can just blow up Chalice with Wear and Tear. It's not that big of a deal. Play with Fire is underrated. Deals 2 damage to any target if a player is dealt damage this way, scry 1. I think in Modern it's just not good enough. In Modern you just need more damage. Ragavan... no, Ragavan sees play, actually. M. Hayashi replaced all of his cards with the new hot cards, because these cards are just good. It's just good. Turn 1 Ragavan, if uncontested, will just destroy the opponent. I thought Blast Zone was fun to be a multi-format hit. It is a multi-format hit. 4 Den of the Dugbear may be too many. This is a great card. How is this too many? You can play this on turn 1 and 2. And it's a late game creature, which is actually a problem for these prowess decks. If you kill off their creatures, they have nothing else to do. Well, now you've got late game with Den of the Bugbear. There's nothing wrong with this. It's an Abosh prowess list, so... Well, I mean, like, we could look at what M. Hayashi does, but I have a did M. Hayashi ever splash white? Your white splash is a bit dubious, which is a problem. Like, I don't know what you want to exile with Prismatic Ending, because you can hit Chalice, which sees a good chunk of play, and when they play Chalice on 1 anyway, you're just going to Wear and Tear it away. We could have at least... Well, I mean, if we were mono red, we could play one Channel Land or something. I think Den of the Bugbear is better than the Channel Land. I don't think it's hard to get to this mana. If you watch how Abosh prowess decks play out, they grind. They go to the late game really easily. They go the long game. No clever Lumimancer? No. I mean, it's mostly a red prowess, Abosh prowess deck with a very light splash for white. I don't... Anyway, you could play the deck as is. Definitely take out Fiery Islet for another white source. Any white source. Like another fetch land that can get Sacred Foundry or something, but the white splash is a bit dubious. White splash is a bit dubious. So, I mean, if we were to remove the white splash, like Prismatic Ending for Bone Crusher Giant, as has been suggested, was probably a good idea. Slayer's Stronghold instead of Prismatic Vista. Slayer's... What is that? Oh, I think this is a bit clunky. You can't have cards like this because you need... I mean, outside of the planes, you need everything to be very heavy on red because the deck is playing a lot of red spells. I never know how people come to the decision on mana bases. How do you calculate what you should be running? How many lands? Great question, and I'll show you how I do it. I look up Frank Karsten mana sources. Just look up Frank Karsten mana sources. The top thing is going to be how many mana colored sources do you need to get. There's a few articles. Get the 2018 one. I think there's an updated one, but it's paywalled. But this is free. How many colored mana sources do you need to consistently cast your spells? A Guilds of Ravnica update. And this gives you a very general idea, and it's very, very good. So the idea is, if you have a 1-drop that needs a color, like Goblin Guide, and you need it in play by turn 1. So basically, what the guide does is it says, if the card costs this much, how many mana sources do you need to cast it consistently by the turn that you cast it? So Goblin Guide, if you want a single colored source by turn 1, you need 14 mana sources and a 60 card deck. And also it gives you a guide for limited and also for commander. So if you want to play your Goblin Guide for 1 red on turn 1, you need 14 sources of mana to consistently, and by consistent it's about 90% of the time to have it by turn 1. In commander you need 23 red sources to get Goblin Guide in play by turn 1. Same thing with Lord of Atlantis. If you want Lord of Atlantis play by turn 1, you need 20 sources. Now mind you, this doesn't consider cantrips that you have in your hand or alternate sources of mana like Ether Vial. So it doesn't count that stuff. So if you want to play Prismatic Ending by turn 1, like I said, you need 14 sources of mana. And this deck, if we go back, had only 12 sources of mana. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I'm missing one. 4, 5, 6. Oh, if Fiery Islet was a white source, it'd be 12. So what that means is we're not going to have enough sources to play Prismatic Ending by turn 1. It doesn't matter, any mana base. So you just have to consider, like, if you could do it for both. So if you want to let's say you have a red-green deck and you have Primeval Titan in your red-green deck, you need 13 green sources of mana to make sure that you have the double green of Primeval Titan by turn 6. So you have to just think about it like that. So when you build a deck, you have to separate all the colors independently. So like when I made my Azorius Merfolk deck, it's 2 colors, but if for the white sources, for the white cards, I have to consider that I have 14 white sources so I can play Prismatic Ending by turn 1. And if you don't need to play it by turn 1, like let's say Ephemerate, I have Ephemerate in my deck. Let's say Ephemerate was the only white card in my deck. I don't need to play that by turn 1, so I don't need 14 white sources. I could probably get away with 13 or 12 because I'm going to play it mostly by turns like 2, 3, 4, 5. I should put this in my hacks video. If you made a video on this, you'd get so many watches. I know. I have mentioned this so many times. If you've been to this channel like a million times, you know that I know this thing exists. But you know what? It's time, people, we bring this out to the world. It's time we bring it out to the world. Yeah, Frank Karsten knows his linear programming stuff. That's right. Thanks, Nikcha. No idea about this. Always did this by hand with a mana curve. Oh yeah, don't do that. So this is the mathematically correct way of doing it. So if you want, for example, triple of a color by turn 3, you need 23 mana sources. Now, again, it's going to say this assumes you have no cantrips in your deck, like no card draw. It assumes you've got no alternative forms of mana like Ether Vial. So, for example, if you have 4 cantrips in your deck, like 4 card draw spells like Serum Visions or something, you could easily go down a land on these recommendations, because it is assumed that if you have 4 cantrips, that those cantrips will help you find those lands. I wish we had a companion that did the opposite of Yorion. I would love to play a 40-card deck in Modern. Oh god. The opposite? Everyone would play it. It'd be the most popular companion. It's basically how to play a limited deck. Maybe that would make sense if it was all Singleton. Singleton limited deck. Hey boss, do you play decks for not? You still played? Yes, I do. The price probably gonna go up. I guess for now it's still the same. So you can send $25 to paypal.me/ as long as it doesn't get out of control, and I will play a random deck of yours. Just make sure in the comments you give me a link to the deck list that you want me to play, and you'll get 1 match. And we'll review it on Decklist Review. Okay, anyway, that's it for today. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining me. We do this Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. We'll be back tomorrow with more pet cards, because I think a lot of you still want to... there was just too many suggestions. So we got to make this a 2 or 3 day thing. Of course, I have a P.O. box. Send me stuff. We'll open it on stream. And thank you very much for all the support. Love the super chats. If you want to support the channel, you can hit the join button, become a member. And thank you so much for joining me. Of course, this channel, this show is nothing without all of you. If no one showed up, I'd have no stream. We'd have no conversation. So thank you so much, everyone who shows up every single day. So keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and